We are a group of students at the Institute of Technology in Sligo, Ireland, studying tourism. Tourism, like any other industry, must address the environmental problems that our modern world faces. Global warming is threatening the very existence of the rich biodiversity of our planet. Carbon emissions are the major source of global warming, and tourism contributes to this problem with its travel, accommodation and activities. A carbon footprint is the amount of carbon emissions that we produce through our daily lives. Things like driving our cars, flying in airplanes, building our houses, heating our homes, and even eating food that has travelled a long way to reach our plate. Tourism is a luxury, but how do we enjoy travel in a responsible way, minimising our impact on both the local ecology and the global climate? As students studying ecotourism, we have made this film to explore this vital question. We learned film-making skills and interviewed a range of local people connected to the tourism industry. We began by asking the fundamental question: what is sustainable tourism?
At the moment on the planet, there's more people alive than have ever lived in the history of the planet, and we as humans are having a significant impact on our planet. Scientists currently are 99% sure that we're responsible for global warming. So every industry, including tourism, has to respond in a certain way. And sustainable tourism attempts to minimize the negative impacts of tourism, be they economic, social, or environmental. Ecotourism conserves the environment by encouraging the tourists, number one, to minimize their impact on the environment, the way they use the environment, the way they move through it, sticking to paths, not disturbing the predator-prey relationship, not picking the flora and fauna, and where they stay, reducing the impact of the actual tourist accommodation, which is a major impact really, the use of fossil fuels to heat it or to keep it cool if it's in a warmer climate, the food they're eating, that it's local and it's organic or slow food, and that they're supporting the local communities through the procurement of those goods and through employment in that area, and the host community is consulted and they are actively participate in the planning of ecotourism.
One of the first places we visited was an accommodation and activity provider taking significant steps to embrace ecotourism. As well as the accommodation used by tourists, the attractions and activities they participate in also need to be sustainably managed. Every attraction is different and must look at its own interaction with and impacts upon the local environment.
The ecotourism products that we offer are mainly healthy breaks. We offer a place for people just to come away and be steeped in nature, be very close to nature. Guests coming to Ardnahough can choose from a number of activities. They can come and just stay in their eco cabin and enjoy being here in the quiet, or they can come and join us for a yoga or detox weekend, and that would include guided walks and yoga and use of the hot tub and the sauna and the steam room and rain shower. We are creating a Celtic Nature Trail, which is a meditation trail around our 6 acres, and we will interpret all the mythological and botanical and culinary and medicinal uses of all our native plants and shrubs.
The EU Flower for Accommodation is a quality standard that was set up by the EU. It's been in operation now for about the last 5 years, and it's designed for accommodation providers who want to become more green and eco-friendly. It's awarded by the European Commission, so it's a very well recognised and high quality standard.
Ardnahough has been awarded the EU Flower. To achieve the EU Flower award, there are basic criteria and then optional bonus criteria. The basic criteria would be things like using energy saving light bulbs, very basic stuff like not using chemicals, composting and recycling. Water waste and energy are the main measures. We specifically, as our optionals, used wood burning stoves and masonry stoves as ways of reducing our use of fossil fuels. We also use renewable energy. So our electricity, for instance, is generated through wind turbines. To educate people about ecotourism and about the measures that we're putting in place here, we simply let people know what they can do to minimise their effects while they're here. So simple things like switching off a radiator if you're leaving your cabin for the day, not opening windows if you've got radiators on, educating people around the flora and fauna, and using our paths, using the Celtic Nature Trail rather than stamping on a lot of the lichens and mosses and the very delicate little rock flowers that grow up above. We also educate people about Lough Nahoo and what's happening down there, and it's also very interesting for people, instead of just looking at a mass of water, to look at that mass of water and have an understanding of what that water means to so much of our wildlife.
My name is Michelle Shannon and I work here at the Marble Arch Caves European Geopark. Our product is we have a show cave and we provide tours to members of the public. Our target tourists for our product would be actually people living in Ireland. A lot of people who come to visit us are from Belfast, so they're day trippers. We will also get a lot of people from France, Germany, Spain and Greece. We have school groups that come here regularly who do education programs up in Culkin Mountain Park and also do educational trips into the show cave. As a show cave and a visitor attraction, we actually have a large number of people that come through here during the summer months. So it's very important for us to try and reduce our impact in the environment. So we have a number of ways of doing that. We try and use low energy lighting wherever we can in the building here. We have a recycling depot around the back of the building where we recycle all the material that's given to us by members of the public and also by staff. We also have a cloud jester which deals with sewage. When the sewage goes into it, it's treated, and when it comes out, it's actually as clear as water. We have the Claddaglen River that it flows out into. The Claddaglen River has been given a level A status, which is actually very high. So it shows how clean the water is coming out of the sewage system. This is checked regularly on a monthly basis to make sure that the standard is held.
Yeah, the marks just on the limestone wall, they're actually called scallop marks. Now they're formed as the water makes its way through the cave, just rushing up against the cave wall. It's like the little eddies in the water is actually brushing up against the limestone rock and eroding away at it.
Education plays a very important role here at the Marble Arch Caves. We have an education officer, Lisa McManus, which is based here at the caves. She creates programs for various ages and categories. For example, school groups, she fits in with the curriculum and she runs limestone trails up in the geopark. We also fit that in with the cave tour, bring them underground, so we actually progress the teaching through that. We actually create employment for local people. To give you an idea, during the summer we'd have about 45 to 50 tour guides employed here, and many of them are actually from County Fermanagh itself. We have roughly about 13 full-time staff, and the majority of them are from County Fermanagh as well.
Embracing principles of ecotourism is not easy. Many of the requirements are simple to implement, but others may require high investment and use of new renewable technologies. These changes may take time to achieve and are often implemented as the business continues to operate. One attraction in such a transition is the Celtic seaweed baths in County Sligo.
You have three types of seaweed. You have the brown, the red and the green. This is called Fucus serratus. It's a brown seaweed that we use extensively for the seaweed baths. Oils are released when it's in the hot seawater. It's lovely for the skin, lovely for the hair, and it's a lovely detox, you know, especially when you go into the hot steam room and then you go into the hot seaweed bath. You feel good after it and all that.
We harvest south and north of Strand Hill. We have 60 miles within our harvesting licence. What we do, we go to areas that there's no pollution whatsoever. We walk down to the reefs and we cut the seaweed 3/4 way down. It's like pruning roses, and that gives the seaweed the ability to grow back within a 3 to 4 month period. The type of people that use the seaweed baths would be remedial, whether it's arthritis, rheumatism, or you'd have a lot of leisure pleasure. The bats would use a lot of water each and every day, but the majority of the water is seawater. We do use mains waters in the steam and the shower, but that's all controlled. So there's no wastage of water within the seaweed baths, and I don't think there's any damage that we're causing. How do we heat the water? Basically it's by oil burners, and what we're going to do is change over to biofuel or biodiesel, but unfortunately the information is quite limited at the moment, and that's what we're researching. We try and be as environmentally friendly as we possibly can. We recycle everything, and we're looking at ways of being more ecologically friendly through our fuel, all our detergents, and the energy we use and insulation within the building.
We use it in an organic form, right? It's one of the purest fertilizers you'll ever get. You know, it's 100% organic, that people could get into the habit of using instead of going down to the local co-ops and getting the nitrates and what have you. This world would be a lot better place for it.
The seaweed baths is diversified into products as well. We've developed the first certified seaweed organic products in the world. Our business would support local people because we would help a lot of local charities out, whether it's in Strand Hill or Sligo, and we employ 18 people within the seaweed baths, so I'm sure we're doing a little bit anyway.
Ecotourist providers are encouraged to use locally sourced organic food to minimise embedded food miles, which contribute to the carbon footprint of each tourist. This supports rural diversification in agriculture locally and allows tourists to taste the flavours of each region they visit.
I'm Ethna Huel of Ethna's Seafood Restaurant in Mullaghmore, County Sligo. I'm not an eco-friendly restaurant at the moment. There are certain things that I've implemented, but there are many more to become truly eco-friendly. I think I became interested in using the principles and practices first when I was using the local produce, and people started to appreciate the fact that you had local cheese, local herbs, organic lettuces and salads, and the local fish provided by the local fishermen.
Well, it's the kind of food ecotourists want to eat because it's naturally embedded. It's food that's produced with a minimal amount of agri-industrial products and processes, minimal pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers and so on. So it fits in with the idea of having a minimal negative impact on the local environment.
To become an eco-friendly restaurant, what you are required to do would be to consider the electrical machinery and equipment that you have, whether it would be AA rating and energy efficient, also the gas equipment the same, that the lighting would be energy efficient lighting, that on your taps that you would have the water wouldn't flow out so fast, there would be a flow restrictor on the taps, that for your waste you would have a recycling facility that you could separate your waste for your cans, your glass, the landfill, the cardboard, toxic materials, things like that. And also for the chemicals that you were using for the washing up or the cleaning chemicals, that you used an environmentally friendly or Ecover products that they weren't so damaging to the environment. I would have to also think about the local produce that or any produce that I'm buying. Obviously, whether it was organic or very local. Also, the fish that you're using, non-endangered species, that you're getting it from the local fishermen, so there's less transport and energy being used to get it here. and employing local staff as well, because the money that they make goes around in the locality as well.
The potential for ecotourism to really work with local farms and local communities to provide a product that you just won't get on a city break in a weekend in various parts of Europe. That potential is there, and it really should be tapped into. Certain places do it quite well, like Tuscany, but we could do it here as well, and there are parts of Ireland where it could be done and it could be developed better.
To be effective, ecotourism needs people to work together, from accommodation to activities to food and to transport. The Green Box is a cross-border initiative set up to support tourism providers in the steps to developing ecotourism products. Networking plays a fundamental role in the mentoring and nurturing of these enterprises.
Networking is hugely important in ecotourism, because I suppose the ecotourism can be seen as a little bit to be a fringe element of in the environmental area, and to get it to become mainstream it is necessary for people to work with each other so that they don't feel isolated. So to encourage the ordinary B&B owner or guest house owner to think green and to act green, they need to know that there are other people doing it and that they're not seen as fringe, that it is mainstream. And by building up the network, people can then develop their products and are able to get their product out onto the market.
Okay, my name is Nuala McNulty. I suppose I have a couple of legs to my tourism product. I'm building an eco-friendly house with self-catering accommodation at the moment, and I also work for the Gaiareum, which is an eco-lodge in Sligo.
My name is Wayne Ford. I work for the Organic Centre in Rocinva, and where we promote organic horticulture. We're a visitor centre. We have lots of people coming, and we've got demonstration gardens, and we do lots of training courses as well.
Right, my name is Anke Morgenroth, and my business is called Bear Essentials, and it's surrounded around collected teddy bears.
My name is Aidan Boyle, and my tourism product is called Body and Soul Experience. It's a product which basically includes a detox stay at a hotel in Donegal town, and we basically focus on detoxing, health and adventure, outdoor adventure basically.
My name's Alex Delamata, and my tourism product is an online reservation system for the Northwest. It specialises in rural tourism and ecotourism type products, and it's a dynamic packaging product that allows consumers to come onto the site and put together the individual elements of their holiday themselves and pay in one transaction.
Okay, my name is Jerome O'Loughlin, and my company is Ireland Eco Tours, and the plan is to have a biofuel bus.
My product helps to conserve the environment by being very much based on the rural tourism product. That's the sort of the small, medium operator that's based within the local community, that's nature-based, that gives something back to that community as well.
Organic horticulture is a much more environmentally friendly way of growing things. It's less, we don't use chemicals, we respect nature and work with nature.
First of all, the collector mohair teddy bears, it's an eco product itself. It's a natural product made of goat's hair, and it's a collector product. It's the only fabric actually which will stand the test of time. Those are teddy bears which could still be around in 100 and 200 years. Environmental friendly, our building, our center is environmentally friendly, like heating wise, the building is a friendly building.
The fuel that I want to use in particular is called PPO, which is pure plant oil. It's actually vegetable oil. So it comes from a crop called rapeseed. It's referred to as carbon neutral. Everything from the local schools to local community groups can hire me to use my bus, which means that the entire community's carbon footprint is going to be smaller because of the fact that I use biofuel.
Our product will support local people by employing locals, using local food, locally produced crafts, materials, stuff like that.
Our product helps local people because we're one of the largest employers locally. We have 25 people working for us, as well as a number of other people working on a freelance basis and so on. And we also, because we attract so many visitors, weekend visitors, they use local accommodation providers and restaurants.
While ecotourism is a new concept to Ireland, it is well established in other parts of the world, and there are lessons that we can learn from. It is important that products are authentic in following the principles of ecotourism and do not engage in greenwashing. As people are building their products, it is important not to market them as ecotourism until they are properly developed and certified.
The Green Box is an ecotourism destination organisation, and we're trying to create ecotourism on the island of Ireland in 3 ways. We're doing it through certification and standards, training and capital development, helping a network of small businesses to develop ecotourism products.
People often say, can we have ecotourism in Ireland considering our weather? I think we can. Ecotourism does not rely on sunny weather. In fact, ecotourism is seasonally flat. The research done by the World Tourism Organization in 2002 showed that ecotourists will actually travel at any time of the year, and they're more concerned about what the activity they're doing, be it tramping or be it photography or be it painting or be it looking at upland bogs or rivers or whatever it is. The weather isn't the fundamental motivation for it. It's actually the environment, and sometimes people want to see that environment at different times of the seasons, be it in autumn or be it in early spring, and it mightn't be in high summer when it's sunny and warm that people want to travel to do that.
I think there's a global market for ecotourism to come to Ireland, but I think the UK market, and particularly urban markets in Europe, I think would have to be the key markets from an access point of view for the Northwest region. I think greenwashing is a term which is really a marketing term for people who abuse, the principles of green, sustainable or ecotourism, and where the product doesn't reach a certification standard. We would be very anti-greenwashing tourism in Ireland, that we need to have a quality product to a standard that's monitored and adhered to, and that the consumer and the provider is certified.
Certification is very important for ecotourism. Standards are very important for ecotourism. We have to set very high standards for ecotourism products and ecotourism services. If we are to maintain the credibility of ecotourism within Ireland, we can't accept low standards. We can't accept greenwashing. Greenwashing happens when tourism providers and tourism services put themselves forward as green, but in fact they're not. So they devalue the effort that's being made by genuine bona fide ecotourism providers, and we must protect the effort that those genuine providers are making. The development of ecotourism is a very important initiative in Ireland, and it gives Ireland what we can call a competitive edge over other destinations. We're renowned for our clean green image, for our clean and healthy environment, and this is something that has to be protected, and it can be used as a marketing opportunity and to give us a competitive edge over competing destinations as well. So we can really put ourselves very, very high on the global charts of environmentally friendly destinations. But we're at the start of that stage at the moment. A lot of work has to be done with local communities, and we really have to make sure that we work as hard as we can in maintaining our clean green image. It's not something we can take for granted, and it could be easily lost.
Through making this film, we have learnt that ecotourism has significant potential in Ireland. We've seen many tourist providers taking steps towards sustainable tourism, with ecotourism as a long-term goal. Ireland's landscape, heritage and flora and fauna are unique and have a lot to offer the ecotourist. The main lessons we have learnt about ecotourism are: educating people about the natural environment is central. Local people must be actively involved and benefit. Every attempt must be made to decrease the carbon footprint through use of renewable energy and methods of transport. Local and organic food must be used when available. Networking with other providers is essential. Avoiding greenwashing is vital. Ecotourism must actively conserve the environment and not just minimise impacts. Becoming an ecotourism provider is a long process that starts with simple steps leading to certification. As students embarking on careers in tourism, we feel optimistic that ecotourism can provide us with a future. We are a group of students at the Institute of Technology in Sligo, Ireland, studying tourism. Tourism, like any other industry, must address the environmental problems that our modern world faces. Global warming is threatening the very existence of the rich biodiversity of our planet. Carbon emissions are the major source of global warming, and tourism contributes to this problem with its travel, accommodation and activities. A carbon footprint is the amount of carbon emissions that we produce through our daily lives. Things like driving our cars, flying in airplanes, building our houses, heating our homes, and even eating food that has travelled a long way to reach our plate. Tourism is luxury, but how do we enjoy travel in a responsible way, minimising the impact on both the local ecology and the global climate? As students studying ecotourism, we have made this film to explore this vital question. We learned filmmaking skills and interviewed a range of local people connected to the tourism industry. We began by asking the fundamental question: what is sustainable tourism?
At the moment on the planet, there's more people alive than have ever lived in the history of the planet, and we as humans are having a significant impact on our planet. Scientists currently are 99% sure we're responsible for global warming. So every industry, including tourism, has to respond in a certain way. And sustainable tourism attempts